Welcome to another RSR. Tonight we're reviewing Vancouver Whitecaps FC 4, Forge FC 0, 6-2 on aggregate, the Canadian Championship Semifinal 2025 Leg 2. Forge FC are eliminated from this tournament. Vancouver Whitecaps are going to host the final and advance to the final, where they play their local contemporaries in Vancouver, Langley FC, or play Atletico Ottawa is yet to be determined, but we'll find out tomorrow. We'll still cover the final because it's a final. With that being said, Vancouver Whitecaps FC have won this game, and Forge never had a shot in hell. Let's be real. This just wasn't their night. Their slight downturn in form recently definitely showed up here. They were very shaky. They were very not good enough, really, is the word. They were not good enough tonight. They were shaky defensively, offensively. They had some moments they definitely could have scored on, and they regret not scoring on them. Maybe that would have changed the focus of this game, but goals were scored as follows. 7th minute, there's a corner for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Tristan Blackman, ball swung in. CALLO does not get a hand to it. It lands to Tristan Blackman or around him. He heads it in to an open net, 1-0, 3-2 on aggregate. And that's where it starts coming apart truly. 29th minute, JC Ngondo scores a goal, has the ball around him, gets to the top of the box, doesn't get tackled. They just allow him to run top of the box. And he takes a shot off the post and in to make it 2-0, 4-2 on aggregate. Halftime, it's 2-0, 4-2 on aggregate for the Whitecaps. And then there's a penalty given early in the second half. Jevramovic pushes over a Whitecaps player on a corner. Ball doesn't even get to anybody. It's a penalty given. Sebastian Berhalter steps up to take it, and he slots it home past CALLO to make it 3-0, 5-2 on aggregate. 85th minute, a counterattack play finds its way across the box, played to Jaden Nelson. He slots it home, 85th minute, 4-0, 6-2 on aggregate. He doesn't really finish the game, but he puts the finishing touches on the game. Full-time 4-0, 6-2 on aggregate. Full-time stats are as follows: 23 shots to 8, 9 shots on goal to 2, 57% possession to 43% possession, 534 passes to 395, 89% pass accuracy to 86% pass accuracy, 16 fouls to 9, 0 offside to 3, 2 yellow cards to 3, 0 red cards to 0, 5 corners to 5. The Whitecaps were just the better team tonight. It was always going to be tough for Forge. It was always going to be tough for them to win in Vancouver at BC Place, or even draw to send it to a shootout. And then, who's to say they would win that shootout? It was going to be tough to do that as well. Vancouver wanted to win this game. Even though they slightly rotated, they still found a way. They were the better team tonight, by far. There is no question whatsoever. Vancouver was by far the better team, and they deserve to win this match. Vancouver is starting to find that form once again. Ever since Thomas Muller came over, even though Brian White's been hurt, Ryan Gould's been hurt. Ever since Thomas Muller came over, they've started to recover that early season form that got them to a CONCACAF final. Vancouver, and once they get Ryan Gould and Brian White back with Thomas Muller playing, by the way, Muller didn't play at all tonight after his hat trick. He didn't need to. Once they get him back, or them back to play with him, it's going to be a show. It's going to be a show. The Vancouver Whitecaps are starting to get back to their high-level, high watermark. Speaking of form swoons, we could look at Forge. Forge have had 2 losses in the CPL recently since the first leg draw against the Vancouver Whitecaps. Their form has sort of swooned recently. Yes, they have qualified for the Canadian Premier League playoffs. They should win the league, regular season-wise, top of the league. They should. They still have a 2-point buffer on Atletico Ottawa. And they beat Ottawa. Calvary was the one that beat them first. I remember correctly. And when Forge gets beat, they get demolished, it seems, recently. It's not pretty. Recently, Forge's losses have been demolishings. They were so perfect post-Champions Cup that it had to fall apart. And it might be falling apart at the worst possible time for Forge. It really might be. Now, could this be a come-to-Jesus moment where they just start dominating again for the rest of the season, their last 5 league matches and the playoffs? Yes, it could be that come-to-Jesus moment. But will it be that come-to-Jesus moment that they might need right now? Frankly, it's not like Vancouver where injuries started to pile up. It's just, I think their gas might be running out. If you're Forge, that's the problem. I've seen this before. Not exactly last year, but 2021, that was a really good season from Forge. They went to the CONCACAF League semifinal. Frankly, should have went to the final. And they went to the CPL final. And Forge should have won. But I think their gas was heavily running out, and you could tell they were starting to run on E. And I think Forge this year, even though they've had less matches than that year in 21, if I'm correct, and less tough matches and less travel, they're starting to run on E. Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like that chase for perfection, that chase for being invincible in Canada started to break them, and they were starting to run on E. And you could tell tonight, they were running on E. Once that first goal went in, it was curtains. Once that first goal went in, it was curtains. It was, because they knew how tough this match was going to be. How tough it was to win in Vancouver or hold them to a draw to get to a shootout, and then you'd have to win the shootout. This was always against Forge, and I think their recent results, whether that's totally just burnt their momentum out, they're just running on E, and that's why they had those results, or they just felt disenchanted, discouraged, whatever it might be. This game was uncharacteristic for Forge if you look at their history. If you look at their recent results, is it so? No. Is it so? No. I start to think they're running out of gas. I think they had their moments, and it was either completely invincible or nothing. And I think they need a come-to-Jesus moment if they're going to win the CPL Shield and Cup. I really do. Now, knowing Forge, maybe this is the come-to-Jesus moment. Maybe they're like, okay, this is not us. This is not us. We should not be reamed out in a competitive trophy match, especially against a team from our country. But we were reamed out. Okay. But it just was Vancouver's night. Like, Vancouver was on them like white on rice. Simple. And this game was over before it even started. Really. And man of the match for me, Sebastian Berhalter. It is. It is. If he misses that penalty, things might have been different. Probably not, but he needed to slot home that penalty. He had a really good game besides it, but slotting home that penalty basically said, hey, you're done. You ain't coming back. Even if you thought you were, you ain't. Goodbye. We going for 4. We're going for 4. And they are. And Vancouver wins, and I gotta respect it. Congratulations to Vancouver. Commiserations to Forge. This might have been their best chance to ever win the Can Champ, and they blew it away. They kind of got screwed by Canada Soccer being put against Vancouver Whitecaps, but even then, they were probably going to Vancouver for the final, even if they had played Ottawa or Langley. So, was this coming anyway? Probably, but at least in the final, it doesn't feel as discouraging but here it kind of does. If you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification once subscribed. Send some chats on live streams. Comment on this video. Put this in playlists. Share with friends and family. All that great stuff. I will see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, for a live watch-along and review of Cavalier FC versus Defense Force FC CONCACAF Caribbean Cup. Match day 3, Group B. I will see you tomorrow, and then 5 p.m. on Thursday for Robin Hood versus O&M. So there you go. 2 Caribbean Cup games over the next 2 days. It just gets earlier and earlier. So there you go. But I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. See ya.